Greetings, ghouls and goblins, driftwalkers and star lurkers. Welcome back to Astra 4, where the dark is deep, the void is patient, and nothing out here ever truly stays dead. Before we begin tonight's tale, let's take a moment to remember everything we've survived so far. First came oxygen, a warning from a failing air unit, a voice whispering through the vents, and Callahan discovering that something on Astra 4 still breathed, even when it shouldn't. Then knock knock. Callie heard tapping on the hull where no life could exist, a reflection that smiled when she didn't. Handprints pressed against the glass from the outside. After that was the passenger, a ghostly figure seen only in the corners of drifting cameras, a shape that boarded the station without opening a single airlock. It followed the crew room to room until one of them didn't wake up. And then came the suit, a broken EVA suit found drifting in the void, empty, then not empty. A fogged visor hiding a face that shouldn't have been there. A missing crewman smiling from inside the glass. Each story has brought us deeper into the strange shadows wrapped around Astra 4. And tonight, we enter the coldest, quietest part of the station. The part that should be silent, still, dreaming. But as we've learned, some things out here don't sleep. And some things wake up alone. Sleep Module B. A scary story from beyond the stars. Some things never sleep. They said it was a glitch, a flicker in the monitors, a memory echo in the station's feed logs. Nothing serious. But Martinez didn't believe it. She'd heard the voice. It was her first solo rotation, maintenance sweep, week 2. Just her, the hum of the recycler, and a crew of 5 frozen in Sleep Module B. But one night, she walked past the cryo corridor and stopped. A light was on. Pod B4, flickering, fogged. She leaned closely. Inside, she saw a man, eyes closed, lips moving, mouthing words. She turned off the light and ran diagnostics. Pod B, 4 status, occupied, vitals normal, audio input off. So why had she heard him? The next night, the same pod was dark, still, but the night after that, it was Pod B6, the one that was supposed to be sealed, contaminated on the last mission, flagged, decommissioned, no occupant listed, and yet it was on. Soft blue glow, frost creeping down the sides, a heartbeat monitor flashing once every 5 seconds, and someone inside. Martinez called control. They dismissed it.
No record of anyone in B6. Probably a sensor loop. Reboot the module and carry on.
She didn't. Instead, she went to the cryo feed log archives and found something worse. There had been someone in B6 long ago. Crewman Eli Jara. He'd gone under on mission 4, but he'd never woken up. System logs claimed he never existed. Cryo scrubbed him from the manifest, but Martinez had a printout from an old crew photo 6 smiling faces from that mission, 7 in the reflection behind them. That night, she checked on Pod B6 again. The glass was clear. Inside was a figure, pale, motionless, its face pressed gently against the inside of the pod, fogging a slow circle in the glass. Then the eyes opened. They were looking right at her, and the mouth moved. "You're next." And that concludes the 5 tales of Astra 4. 5 glimpses into the dark, beyond the stars, where stations whisper, modules fail without warning, and something always seems to be watching from the edges of the void. You met the drifting voices in Sleep Module B. We heard a voice breathing through failing vents and oxygen, even though no one was awake to speak. We watched something tap gently on the hull in Knock Knock, something that shouldn't have had hands. We felt a silent visitor boarding the station in the passenger, slipping through walls, following the crew like a shadow wearing a pulse. And we saw a dead EVA suit drift back to the airlock, wearing a smile that didn't belong to the man who disappeared. 5 stories, 5 warnings, 5 reminders that in deep space, you're never really alone. Before you go, which one unsettled you the most? Which moment made you turn on a light? And if you were stationed on Astra 4, which module would you refuse to walk into alone? Your answers help shape what comes next. Your fears help decide where the next chapter goes. Thank you for surviving Astra 4. But remember, in deep space, nothing ever truly ends. Something always finds its way back.